got a question for you.
Yes.
After you die, what happens?
I hope it's going to sleep
Yeah,
because
what
I'm real
about your
tired of
soul?
this. Hmm?
What about your soul?
Yeah, it goes to sleep.
So you're right. You die, you go to sleep. That'd be interesting. But what if you're wrong? What if you die, you wake up in hell with no escape? Wouldn't that be tragic?
Well, of course it would.
Well, it doesn't have to be that way. You know, the Bible tells you how to go to heaven. You heard it before?
I respect what you're doing and a way that you're committed to helping others find what you found in the Bible, but I'm agnostic.
What
But
you
good luck with what you're doing, man.
what you believe is wrong. Would you want to know?
What I believe in is what I believe in. What you think you believe in may be right to you, but I believe that I want to go to sleep when I die.
If
I don't
what you believe,
refute
all I'm saying
any
is if
guilty
what
or
you
what
believe
you
is
believe in.
wrong, would you want to know?
Wrong or not, whatever happens, happens, man.
See, eternity's a long time, and you're dead longer than you're alive. That's why it all matters.
You do have a point there, I won't lie to you. But
And they can't both be right at the same time. Eternity is a long time, and I don't want you to end up in hell. That's what the Bible's all about, making peace with God. Now, if you're
yeah.
an agnostic, that's okay. But here's the thing. You might be wrong, and it might be an eternal mistake.
Oh, they could easily with me. Alright.
How do you believe? How did we get here? Where did we come from?
It's all a mistake, and we're just seeing the results of it all.
Okay, so there was a mistake, but where did the mistake come from? How did it begin?
People like to ask these big questions because they want to know the big answer, but
Yeah? Why do we have that desire to know if it doesn't
that's a
matter?
bigger mystery in and of itself,
That
to be
desire is a
frank with
big
you.
thing. It's an indicator of life. Let me ask you, or let me put it this way. You know, all around the world, there's four main views about how the world came to be. Have you heard that before? They kind of go in four categories.
Go for it.
The first one is that the world is an illusion. It's like the Matrix. You ever seen that movie before?
Yeah, yeah, man. I go with you,
That,
man.
that's what Buddhism and Hinduism pretty much go into that category. But the
Yeah.
problem with that is that in order to know what an illusion is, you have to know what an illusion is not. You have to compare it to something. That's what reality is. Like when you go to a magic show, you have a
Mm-hmm.
guy with a hat and a rabbit, he pulls it out, and everyone's like, wow, that's cool, that shouldn't be happening. It's amazing to us because we know it shouldn't be happening because we can compare it to something, to reality. That's where the idea, I think, therefore I am, came from. Have you heard that quote?
Yes.
So we can know that we aren't living in an illusion. The second view is that the universe is eternal. It's always existed. But the problem with that is the concept and the idea and the measurable reality of time. Things tend to age, they grow older, there's seasons, things like that. We can measure
Mm-hmm.
the radiation to tell that the universe had an origin. That's the problem with eternal universe theory. The third view is the Big Bang, which is very popular. That there was an
Yeah.
explosion and we came from that. The problem with that is always the same, the origin of the explosion. You cannot get something from nothing. You cannot get life from non-life, meaning you cannot get life from energy or a rock or something like that. You don't get consciousness, you don't get reasoning from energy. That's a huge problem. The last view is the God view, which is something outside of time, space, and matter, created time, space, and matter. That's God. God is a spirit. He's outside of time, space, and matter. He's the creator. We are the created. We're living inside of time, space, and matter. That's all that we know. That's where we come from. So out of all the views, that one is the most logical, reasonable. That makes sense?
Yeah.
It's like this. The house that you live in, if you look at it, who do you think built that house?
People.
Right? The house didn't build itself over time with just random materials. There was somebody that got the materials, put them together, had the tools, had the intelligence, the design to make it all happen. Now look at your body. You look at your fingerprints. They're extremely unique. Only you have those fingerprints in all of history and all the people around the world. Only you have that. Only you have your voice. Only you have your DNA. All of that is vastly more complex than any house.
Mm-hmm.
It points that we
Out
have
of
a designer.
108 billion humans that have been born. Yeah.
Sorry, what's that?
Out of 108 billion humans that have lived and died.
Yes, you are unique in that way. Only you have your fingerprints and DNA. That all points to an intelligent design. Does that make sense?
No, I get you.
So from there, how do we know about God? How do we know that the Bible is true? We go from there. Well, we look at all the holy books in the world and see which ones match up to what our observation of the universe is or can be. Does that make sense?
Yeah, from an ancient standpoint as well.
So here's the
And
thing.
even
In order for God to be God, he has to be supernatural. In order to create time and space, he has to be outside of it. He can't be limited by that, so to say. He has to be
yeah,
powerful to be able to do that. He has to be eternal, meaning he's outside of time. He's self-existent. He has no beginning because he literally created time. He has to be omnipresent, meaning he created space, but he's not limited by space. And again, he
yeah,
has to. Sorry, what was that?
when of course there is the rationalization that there is someone out there, but does it scare you about the idea of there being not anyone?
Well, of course, that's a scary prospect, but again, out of the choices, that one doesn't make any sense because you can't get something from nothing.
Are you taking it from the rule of matter, where you can't make anything out of nothing?
However you want to call it.
From yeah, that's understandable.
But you go down the line on all those things, like I was talking about, and then you find out which of the texts describes God in that way the closest, and that's where the Bible comes in. When you read it, all the attributes are described in that way.
Do you do this to get more people into the Christian mindset, or do you do it to challenge your viewpoint?
I do it to help people make peace with God. That's the most important thing, because life is short. We never know when we might die, and again, eternity's forever. And making peace with God is the most important thing you can do. That's what it's
I
all about.
believe making, or my viewpoint of making peace with whatever's up there is that you hold yourself up to morals. Of course, the good old book, the Bible, that I'm sure you've read many times, tells you how to live, tells you, societal norms that are deemed moral by by the human mind.
Yeah, it gives the basis for objective reality,
It's
objective
more so
truth.
I skip a level where rather I live by, religion telling me how to be a good human. I live by the rules themselves without the need of a religious identity or someone to look up to. And just acknowledge what I see in front of me. Because I'm just lazy. I don't want to think about what's really up there. I'm too tired. So I just
Sure.
live by the rules and that's it. I don't think of moral reward or moral desert. I just wait day to day and see what happens. And let's say I do die. Let's say there is a heaven or a hell. Let's say there's nothing. Let's say there's reincarnation. Anything will happen. Nothing's for sure. I know it's...
So you're banking on nothing for sure is the surety.
Yeah.
All I'm suggesting to you is, how do you know that that is the ultimate truth?
Because the truth... We only see, what is it, a few milliseconds in the past when our brain processes time. We see really the past rather than we do see the present, but of course we still call it the present. But when the past leaves us, if it's not documented, it's like it didn't happen, unless you see the results. Like let's say you drop an atomic bomb and you see the blast, and it's residual radiation. Of course you're gonna see it was an atomic bomb, but what if it wasn't? What if it was just there? Because the atomic bomb isn't there anymore. Well, I'm going off on a tangent, but
It's
you
late.
you could raise a generation and tell them that we came from aliens, and they wouldn't know of the Holy Roman Empire, for instance, in history. They wouldn't know about the medieval era. They wouldn't know that we had the Black Plague. They just know that we came from aliens. I mean, history is very finicky, and it's...
The way that they would find out is they would have a desire, maybe some of them, not all, would have a desire to find out what the truth is, and they would search for it. Look for evidence.
Of course. Yeah.
That's the neat thing about humans. And that's
course.
the evidence that we have. We look at the galaxy, we ask the questions. That's what those four main views come from. Look, I know that you're sleepy, you're tired, it's late at night. I want to give you the name of a book. I think you would really like it. It's called One Heartbeat Away. Have you heard it before?
I don't think I have. I'll write it in my notes.
You can find it on Google, One Heartbeat Away PDF by Mark Cahill. I think you can get it for free, but you sound like a guy that thinks about stuff and reads about things like this, so I'll recommend that to you.
Alright. I'll look it up.
Check it out. Tell me what you think. I'll give you my email address in case you want to email me and tell me what you think. There you go.
Alright.
Good talking to you, man. Have a good night.
Good talk. See ya.